Hello, everybody, and welcome back.
All right. So we're waiting around in the tavern
The bog standard.
for the Lydia to show up.
And she does. You
Aha!
see her coming in her resplendent gold robes with silver trim. She's got a gnarled oaken walking stick. She's in her 50s somewhere.
Okay.
And has kind of these like deep bags under her eyes and large glasses that cover her face. She walks in and comes right up to your table, leaning heavily on her staff, and says, "Good day."
Good evening, Lydia.
Yes, it is I, Lydia,
I
the
stand
diviner.
up and give her a curtsy and shake her hand. Not a curtsy, but like the nod. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. That's
Yeah. I used my etiquette proficiency to do the appropriate gesture. Yeah.
You successfully etiquette her.
Great. Can I get you a drink?
No, thank you.
You're not staying?
I will be.
Okay. Don't drink.
I don't accept drinks from strangers.
Well, perhaps I can buy you one after tonight.
Perhaps. I believe
So,
you wanted to see me. You had some information for me?
I have a great deal of information about many things that I'm sure you would be interested in, but as I'm sure you know, it doesn't always benefit one to give away their secrets so willingly.
Yes.
Without first knowing the person to whom they are giving them.
Very true.
Now, I'm sure you know things that I could do with knowing, so I thought maybe we could get to know each other, become colleagues of a sort. I hear you are an impressive wizard.
I have many talents. Primarily involved in looking up people.
What do you see when you look at me?
I see someone who puts themselves before everything else around them. And I see someone who is thirsty.
That's
Every
one way of
time
putting it.
you... Yes, the sort of person who always wants just a little more. Is never quite satisfied.
Enough is never enough, is it? I thought I had enough, and then I got bored. I actually think that maybe it's just the thrill of the chase more than the end goal, if you know what I mean. I just enjoy the adventuring.
I hope that's all it is that you enjoy.
I'm not sure I catch your drift, Lydia.
Some people get caught up in the adventure and wake up one day realizing that it was less the adventuring and more the sense of power over others.
I narrow my eyes slightly. Well, as I'm sure you know, that does have an allure to it.
Yes.
We all pursue power in our own ways, though, don't we? I'm sure as the Baroness's court wizard, you are sufficiently resourced.
I have my tools, yes.
So, I'm sure there's many ways I could help you, and if you have questions, particularly around Eridon, I could certainly help with that. But what I'm looking for is access to a library. I've left the majority of my books in Eridon, and currently conditions are not correct to go and retrieve them. I have some spells that I wish to research, and I don't have the material or the books I need.
She thinks for a moment, still standing, not having sat down next to you or across from you yet.
Oh, she's not sitting down. Okay.
No. And then eventually motions to the innkeeper, bartender, and takes a seat across from you, saying, there are a few questions I have for you, and if I like the answers, I would be willing to open up sections, specific sections of my library to you.
Very well. Well, let me hear the questions and I'll decide whether it's worth the answer.
Are there any magical or non-magical traps in the keep at Shirebrook?
It's an interesting question. You planning to go there?
I rarely leave the town.
Well, the keep itself is safe from magical traps, but I'd stay away from the tower. The wizard that lived there was rather malevolent.
I don't think that's quite the right word for dear old Aldrick.
You know him?
We court wizards have a tendency to keep in touch.
Did he say where he was going? He disappeared without any notice.
I think he wanted to see something far away. At least, that's where he died.
Far away? What do you mean?
At sea.
Oh, wait,
Yes.
what?
Poor dear stopped answering my messages, and I went to see where he was and found his body at the bottom of an ocean.
Oh. He didn't seem like the seafaring type.
No.
It's rather strange.
Well, there were demons involved, and he spoke of an untrustworthy person, some sort of dark-dealing wizard, but I don't think that was you. You mentioned...
No. I think I know who you're referring to, though. I can certainly answer some questions on him. I don't think you need to be worrying about him anymore, though.
Good.
He fell foul of the demons. Although I don't think that's what happened to Aldrick, because he disappeared before the demons showed up. But I don't know. Like, he just wasn't there one day when I returned. But I'd stay away from the tower, or at least I would advise what I presume to be the Lord's army to stay away from it.
And is that because you want it for yourself?
Well, there are some books there that belong to me. But no, I would suggest it for their safety as well.
So what traps lie within the tower?
Dangerous ones? I suppose I could...
That's okay. You've said enough. I understand.
And are they planning to go to Shirebrook specifically?
Are who planning to go where?
The Lord's army, or the Lord's men. I wouldn't mind revisiting there myself.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Very well. Well, bear it in mind. I'm sure that it's a dangerous place. Even before the demons turned up, the road to Shirebrook was dangerous, so I wouldn't mind accompanying on a journey there. But does that answer your question? Do you have more?
No, that answers my question for now.
Very good. Very good.
I will, of course, be willing to open up a small section of my research library to you in exchange for this tidbit of information.
Can I request a section, or...?
No. I have something in mind that will ease us into whatever relationship we may end up with.
A section of your library
Yes.
you see as leading to our friendship?
You're here to stay. You've bought a rather large mansion with your companion.
Yes, this is true.
So
but
I imagine you'll be around for quite some time, and when two wizards of of great standing exist in one town. It is better to be friends than to be enemies. So I shall endeavor to foster a friendly relationship or a colleague relationship with you.
Indeed, yes. I believe that is to both of our advantages. But I do have a specific use in mind for the library. In the long term, yeah, sure. But specifically now I'm looking for specific topics.
Which are?
Areas surrounding teleportation.
She pauses and thinks for a moment. That's an alteration spell?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have it. Teleport.
It's a 5th level spell, right?
Yeah. Alteration, yeah.
Well, I can help you with a small section of that.
I appreciate it.
Yes. I can lend you a book on magic warding circles.
Okay.
That will hopefully inform your education if you can manage to decipher the texts. They are quite dense. Shall help you with your not turning inside out when you reach your destination.
Yes, that is my main concern.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, should I come by and pick it up?
I will have it left for you with your man, Jeeves.
You met him, Jeeves?
No, I have not.
I'd appreciate you didn't spy on me too much now that we're colleagues.
It is my job to know what happens in and around this area. It is my job to know the people of power and influence. I know many things about you.
That doesn't make me feel very comfortable.
Is there something about you that shouldn't be known? Do you have something to hide?
I have a great deal of secrets.
That doesn't bode well for us, does it?
Or you. Never mind. Well, you're gonna do what you're gonna do, but I'm just saying I don't appreciate being spied upon.
Well, then maybe you should move deep into the woods by yourself. That's what the other wizards who prefer secrecy will do.
Yeah.
And as long as you are within the borders of our town, it will be my duty to keep tabs on you.
I just spent a whole lot on that mansion, though. I don't really think I can move right now. Do I detect her trying to read my mind or anything like that? She hasn't cast ESP or anything. I mean, she might have cast it before she came in, but... I would get a saving throw.
You would get a saving throw. You don't feel like she's probing your mind.
Good. And I haven't, you know that thing when somebody casts like clairvoyance on you or somebody scrying on you. I haven't had that.
Right. No, none of that going on.
All right. I want to try and gauge how powerful she is, but I don't think I've got any way of doing that.
Yeah.
Right?
No, there's not a clear way of doing that. Wizards.
What about what she's carrying? Does her staff look magical?
It is a gnarled oaken staff that has been polished and finished. There's no obvious magical things hanging off of it. There's no runes engraved in it. There's no precious metals or gems anywhere. It's just like a gnarled, finished oaken staff.
Yeah.
Let's see, her robes are quite nice. The gold with silver trim and some tassels and fringe on it. They are of a quality that could be imbued with magic, but without detecting magic, there's no way to tell off the top of your head.
Yeah.
And she's got those big, weird-looking glasses, Maybe those are magical? Again, can't quite tell, but it could be.
Oh, what, like, yeah, magical glasses. That would be cool. Well, I don't want to have to kill a Neal, but I might have to at some point, but I'll leave it. I spend the rest of the night with her as long as she wants to stay. I talk matters of archaeology with her, and I'll answer other questions about Eridon, assuming they're not self-implicating.
Yes. At some point, she'll start asking about what the demons looked like. She asks like specific details about claws and feet and joints. She already seems to have an understanding of what they look like generally, but fine details she's looking for.
Yeah, so my story is basically that we just arrived in town as it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do want to keep an eye out she said she knows a great deal about me. If she slips up in the way she says something, or if she gives any indication of what she might know that I haven't told her, I would like to know. Like, when I'm talking about the demons and I say that we arrived in town just as it was happening, does she seem like she knows other than that? Like that's a lie, sort of thing. As an example, like if she gives away anything that she knows, I'd like to know about it.
No, when you say that you arrived in town just as it was happening, she just sort of like slowly nodding.
No, so I give her the story. I tell her about the demons. That's fine. At some point,
where were you before you arrived in Shirebrook?
That day.
What ship did you arrive on? Yes.
I didn't arrive by. Or did I arrive by ship? No, I think I was traveling back from Newfort through the forests. So I think I crossed the Crystal Run on a boat, but I didn't arrive via the sea.
I see.
I had business with Count Ironhide. I wonder if he's still safe. Do you have any news on Newfort?
Destroyed.
Ah.
Laid waste, leveled, flattened.
And Count Ironhide?
Dead. Presumably.
Yeah.
I've not been able to locate him.
I suppose he had it coming. What about Baroness Velmont? She was in his dungeon, would you believe?
Probably dead.
Well, seems to be that way for a lot of folks around that area.
Are you aware of how much of Eridon was destroyed?
I am not. Did Stromheim survive?
Yes. For now.
Then the kingdom still functions. They only lost one county, perhaps two. Or did the demons cross the desert near Thornwood? I forget its name now.
There is no desert near Thornwood.
Yes, there is. You are mistaken, my friend.
Maybe we have different definitions of desert.
The Ashlands.
Yes. They crossed the Ashlands, leveled Anvil, flattened Plainsview, destroyed part of Weatherlight, mostly outlying villages, and have completely overrun Heatstroke and taken up residence there. Hundreds of them.
Oh. That's where they still are?
Yes.
Interesting. And Fortune?
Untouched.
Count Vicious lives.
Yes. Limestone, ruined. Tassel, destroyed. Cauldron, Petersburg, Misty Rapid, Thornwood, Newfort, Shirebrook, gone.
Wow. And Hillsborough and Redport?
Quite fine.
It's good. I really like Redport, but I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid I can't return.
Are you a wanted man there?
Yes, but it's not really. It was a misunderstanding.
Most problems arise from misunderstandings.
Yeah, well, somebody misunderstood what I was capable of and attacked me in the street. And it didn't end well for him, or... Well, it's an interesting story, but perhaps maybe you already know it, but perhaps I'll save it for another day when we're more acquainted, because it doesn't necessarily reflect greatly on me, even though I do believe that I was not at fault.
There was an incident in Redport 6 months ago or so, 5 months ago or so, where a rogue wizard, burned 100 people in the streets. Is that the incident? Is that you?
I sort of think for a second and say, it might have been me, but I didn't burn the people. Do you have a... I could show you. Well, you know the spell web.
I'm familiar with it.
So there I was walking through the street when these thugs, I think they'd been hired to assassinate me. But for whatever reason, this guy knew that I was a wizard and he tackled me to the ground before I could stop him and held my arms to my sides. That's a very helpless place for a wizard to be.
Quite.
But I had an item at the time that could cast the web spell without any incantation on my part, you understand?
At the time, this item is gone now?
Yes, it was a one-time use kind of deal. So I cast the spell, the web spell, in order to stop this man from stabbing me to death. And I don't know what happened. Someone must have lit the web on fire, but the entire street went up in flames. And as you can understand, they didn't really want to hear my explanation.
Civilians don't stand much of an opportunity in that situation.
No. What's your take on that? You think that's my fault? I mean, clearly I was involved, and it wouldn't have happened had I not cast the web spell. But am I not at liberty to defend myself?
I am not here to judge. I am simply here to learn and understand.
Well, anyway, I'm not sure I can head back to Redport in any case.
I would not recommend it.
It's a shame. Well, it's a nice town. Well, I have some other questions for you, actually, regarding the giants on the roads to... what's it called? Grumberg or something like that. Gumpbrunn. Yeah.
Yes. Ask away.
Do you know much of them? Have you spied on the giants? They seem to be causing trouble for the town, so I figure that maybe you have some information.
I do.
Oh.
3 families. 4 giants per family.
Is there an overall leader of these giants?
Each family acts independently.
Right. Whereabouts, if I am traveling the road and I get to the, as I understand it, the edge of the hills, how would I then go about finding the giants? Do they live separately, these 3 families?
She nods.
And are they close to the road? If I were to set up camp in the forest before the hills, would I be safe from all but goblins?
I think you would be safe from all the goblins no matter where you set up your camp.
Yes, but I mean, if I were to... I don't want to be harangued by the little blighters.
They rarely go north of the Crack River.
Okay, so these forests are generally safe. Ish.
Drecus is home to the largest forest in Arcadia, and it teems with life. There are many creatures... Second largest forest. There are many creatures here that would seek to harm people. It is what has prevented Drecus from rising to a truly transnational power.
Well, perhaps now that Eridon has been weakened, Drecus can take its place.
Perhaps. Are you looking to slay all these giants?
Well, I'm perhaps looking to put an end to the harassment of the road. But that might be the only way about it. I don't suppose... you don't know that spell tongues, do you? I've failed to learn it on occasion, and it would be helpful in this endeavor.
What sort of diviner would I be if I didn't have a way of speaking everyone's language?
It's a useful spell. I don't suppose we could make a trade. I would be solely using it to help the town.
I very much doubt that, but it might be in our interest to trade it anyway.
If there's so many monsters around these parts, it would do me well to be able to speak with them.
Yes, yes. She pauses and muses. Are you familiar? Hold on. Just a moment. That's not the button I want to click. I'm trying to look up a specific spell.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the spell Vampiric Touch?
Would you believe it? Is that level 2 or level 3?
3.
I'm afraid not. I did consider learning that at one point. I thought I did. I thought I did have that spell, but it's not on my list. Let me check the other thing just to make sure. No. Unfortunately not. If you're looking of a spell of equivalent power, I could offer you...
How about Enervation?
No, I assume you have Clairaudience and Clairvoyance. But what about Phantom Steed? Do you travel much?
Rarely. Contagion?
No, these are all very nefarious spells that you wish to get a hold of.
Spirit Armor?
No. Slow? That's a very, very powerful spell.
Mask of Death.
No. Are you sure you said you're a diviner? There's a lot of necromancy here.
I have no need for slow spells or steed spells of any kind.
What about suggestion? Maybe that's more up your alley.
She pauses on it for a moment. What about... What am I missing? You don't happen to have Aldrick's spell books lying around, do you? After he died, I assumed you took over his position?
I did take his tower. What about his spellbooks, though? Why would you want that?
He had a magic door spell that I want. Aldrick's Discriminating Door. He wouldn't ever share it with me, only offer me to replace my doors at absurd rates, which would, of course, grant him access to my chambers as well.
Yes, that would. That's the kind of thing he would do. Do you know? I don't have his spellbook, but I did get a copy of that spell.
Aldrick's Discriminating Door.
I did. He didn't give it to me willingly, though, so... But I suppose if you say he's dead, it doesn't really matter at this point.
Didn't give it to you willingly?
No, I made a copy of it.
Behind his back?
Yes.
You cheeky fellow.
He is quite an annoying man to deal with. I envy you that you only had to deal with him via letter.
I don't feel the same way about him at all. He was quite a informed and useful colleague. I am sad to hear of his death.
Well, I am too sad to hear it. This is the first I've heard of it. But actually, I think, well, I think Van did tell me that he was dead, but I keep that to myself. I have it somewhere. I think it's back at my house, but I could dig it out for you if you'd grant me the tongues spell. I'm sure I could give you the copy that I made.
I would be very happy with that.
I shall.
Shall we meet back here tomorrow night?
Let's do so.
Excellent.
Okay. So.
Well, one more question for you, if you don't mind.
Of course.
No, never mind. It's fine.
All right.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I shall see you tomorrow. So, I go home and dig out Aldrick's spellbook and copy down that spell.
Right. Copied onto some fresh pages. And cool. So let's do a little bit of a check-in here. You've met quite a few people. You've met 3 important folks in town. Brudella, the Invoker, Kel Dudley, the Captain of the Guard, and Lydia, the Diviner. What do you think of these 3 women?
Well, Kel Lydia seems nice enough. She's not quite up to Tyrus Bellows' standard of legend.
Delude.
Yeah, Delude, sorry. The Talon God. She seems quite cool. Lydia seems more interesting than initially thought. Maybe she does have a passing interest in necromancy, because a lot of those spells that she was asking about don't seem like typical diviner spells. But it might be just that that's one of the only schools that she can have access to with damaging spells. And she's just looking for a way into that realm. And the other wizard, whose name I did write down,
Brudella, the Invoker.
Yeah, she seems pretty cool as well. Brudella.
She had, what was her assistant's name?
Philip?
No. It was something. It's a terrible name. It was like a really
Marvin?
It wasn't Marvin, but that's good. It could have been his name. That's the
Could
sort
have
of
been
name I was going for, yeah.
Yeah.
Chat will remember.
Surely. That's their job.
Okay.
All right.
So you said she's quite good?
Yeah, I quite like her. She seemed interesting enough. I am concerned about Lydia, though, because it does kind of put a dampener on my plans that she could be like reading my mind and knowing what I'm up to. And I wish I knew the limitations of her scrying ability. Yeah, Rupert. I wonder if she'll show me her spellbook tomorrow, or if she'll make a copy. Yeah. So I go and copy Aldrick's spell down, and tomorrow I don't have any. I don't particularly have any more actions to do, so we can skip ahead to meeting her, and I trade the spells. Excellent.
She hands you a copy of Tongues, and you hand her a copy of Aldrick's Discriminating Door, which she prizes gingerly, looking up and down it, and kind of losing the conversation immediately upon receiving it and scanning through the material, even going so far as to cast a spell quietly in the corner of the tavern. You notice that, like, you're both sitting at a booth, and she, like, turns to face the wall, and clearly, like, goes to cast a spell, and, like, looks back at the paper and starts digging through it.
I'll leave you to it, Lydia. If you need me, have someone come to the house, and I would be. I'd love to visit your library in person or visit your chambers, but I appreciate your paranoia in this regard.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
All right, I leave her to it, and I go and start studying tongues. And wait, one more thing, Lydia. Sorry, I wait for a read magic spell to finish so I can talk to her when she's not distracted.
Sure, it takes a little while for her to go over the pages, but you're used to waiting. You're a man of many spells and much worldly experience, so it's not a problem. She finishes up and look. Oh, you're still here.
Yeah, just one thing. I have an interest in military history. Do you have any books on that matter? From, like, battles of the surrounding area, campaigns that were fought, things like that.
I have no books on that, but the local library should have those for you.
Thank you very much. So I now spend the next couple of days learning tongues, and I do want to check out a book on ancient military, or not ancient, recent. It doesn't actually have to be recent. I want to try and find the location of any battles that were fought near here.
I think I see. You you want to take your metal detector to ancient battlefields and see what's left in the ground.
Yeah, metal detector. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, magic detector. It's a clever idea. I like that. So why don't we spend a few days learning tongues, and why don't you give us a check to see if you're proficient with your tongue?
All right, I'm gonna fail this again. I think this would be the 3rd time I might have failed it. Is that a pass? That's dead on.
Is that dead on?
Yeah.
You're not a specialist, right? So you have no bonus or penalty to...
Yeah, it's just 75%.
Wow. All right, it's done. You finally have tongues.
Hurrah. All right, now I can talk to the giants.
17 int?
Yep.
Oh, yep, he does.
Let me just check Lesser Gaius. How does that work on giants? It probably not going to work, is it? They're probably too high a level.
I mean, their saving throws are going to be really good.
I think it maybe just doesn't work as well. Is that 4th? Oh, it's not a standard spell, is it? 7 hit die or less.
Ah.
Giants like 9, aren't they? Never mind. Would I have an idea of that? Because obviously, I know about the hit die limitation, but we don't actually think in terms of hit die.
Right.
So would I have an idea that like this wouldn't work on a creature like that?
Yeah, I think you understand the spell well enough to know that giants are they're too big. Like they're in terms of like internal composition, they're too big of creatures to be pulled by this.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I do some reading about battle sites.
Excellent.
Is there any battles that were fought nearby?
Yes, there were. If we go to the north just a wee bit, in and around Old Voden, these plains are home to many old battles. Long time ago, before the world got all fucked up by the gods, this area was one united kingdom called Voden, and after shit hit the fan, there were a lot of wars in and around these plains for domination, which ended up with Drekis getting this and Voden getting that, or Mystria getting that.
What about though? So I think maybe you've got my intentions slightly wrong. What about just like battles closer to home? I'm not necessarily looking for battles between large kingdoms with powerful magic items. I'm just trying to find where there might be dead people. You know, like...
Well, the battles that you get written down are usually battles, like large-scale battles of significant importance. So there's not going to be a lot of, like, small-scale battles, but if you're just looking for dead people, then every town and village is going to have its own,
well, clearly, great. Yeah, but I'm kind of looking for, like, sources of bodies that are perhaps not in the middle of town and not frequented. Like maybe like somewhere where it's like in the middle of a forest, like no one's there. But
why don't you give me an intelligence check and spend a day or so in the library reading, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Okay. Well, 7.
You bastard. Yeah, so instead of actually coming across a battle site, you learn about some old villages that have since been abandoned. Because they were in territory that is now overrun with goblins. And old villages have bodies and have old cemeteries. Will that cover it for you?
Yes, that seems to work, especially if it's on the way towards where the giants are.
It's actually going to be slightly south.
Okay.
It's going to be out in this direction a little bit.
Okay, so there's like an abandoned village down there that's been overrun by goblins.
There are a few villages, many of them on the coast. And then the closest one would be about 7 miles southwest of Bontheris. It is a small village that was known by the name Dicey.
Can I write on the map?
Sure.
Okay. Dicey. All right. Okay, so I learn tongues a few days later, and I will. I don't want to take Jeeves because Jeeves is running after the house. I will.
Oh, and those dwarves are busy at work in your study down there. They say they're going to be about 4 weeks.
All right, so I want to get out. I'm going to go and head to catch a carriage to the last town on the way to where the giants are.
Okay.
Shit water or whatever it was called.
Yes, it is called ditch water.
All right.
Okay. You hire a driver, and you start making your way to Ditchwater. It'll be... How far is it on the road? Is it a full day to get there? I think it's like less than a full day. It is... Yeah, it's like 10 miles or so. So that's just a few hours by carriage. You've got your new carriage driver with you. A lady named Lemon.
Lemon.
Lemon, that's what she goes by.
All right.
All right. She'll take you through the plains, or the farmland surrounding Bontheris. She'll take you up through the wooded section, cross the Crack River, and bring you to a little town called Shady Oaks.
Not Ditchwater.
Ditchwater, yes. Sorry.
Ditchwater.
I don't know why it says Shady Oaks. Yes, she brings you to Ditchwater, asking if you need a ride back later, or she's just done with you for the day.
No, I'll be staying here for a while. Thank you.
All right. She'll take off then, and it's gently, softly raining when you arrive here in Ditchwater. There's one section of cobblestone road down the main drag through town with a couple of shops on either side and a tavern and a small sort of rundown inn. The village is population 400 maybe, and this like 300-foot section of cobblestone road represents the finest of offerings in the area. The people around here look to be fairly poor peasants, even by the peasant scale. They've got a bunch of rice paddies, which they're working on, but as you were like driving through town, you can kind of see that the rice isn't particularly healthy here. It's not doing too hot. And yeah, everyone's just kind of like dirty, sad peasants, and it's slightly raining.
All right. I go around town like throwing some money around, trying to help the economy. I like buy some stuff, I go for dinner in one place. I eat out every night. I tip well, that kind of thing. And I spend a day or two here. I get a room in the inn, and I get acclimatized. And I try and find out if anyone is heading to Gumbrun anymore, or if like all travel is gone and no one risks it.
No, travel does happen, but they usually wait until there are many people that want to go. So in this inn with you are kind of piling up a few merchants with some wagons that are tucked away in a barn with goods, and they're sort of waiting for a critical mass so that they can hire some mercenaries so that they can make the travel through the pass. The giants are known to attack what's easy, and you get enough wagons and you get enough people with bows and weapons, and it just becomes like a headache for the giants. No one likes to get stung by a bee, and a giant doesn't really want to get like shot at with a bunch of arrows. Even if it doesn't kill him, it's like a pain in the ass.
It's inconvenience, isn't it?
Yeah. So just waiting for critical mass of Caravan.
And how many people does that usually require? For the giants not to bother.
Mercenaries is usually what they look for.
Wow. Okay. To not be attacked. And have some of these merchants traveled the road before then?
Yes, many of them have. You may speak with them.
Yes, I will. So I speak to one of these mercenaries, and I offer to buy him a drink. Greetings, friend. Can I buy you a drink? I've been drinking this. I'm not sure why they've got it here, but they've got some decent wine. I've been drinking that. Can I share a bottle with you?
Of course.
So I buy the expensive wine and I sit down with this carriage driver and I drink a little bit and I say, I'm interested in these giants that are harassing caravans on the road. I'm sure you're aware.
Ugh, fucking assholes.
Do they tend to attack in large groups or is it one or two at a time?
Well, I have never had the pleasure or displeasure of seeing it, but my cousin once was part of a caravan that got attacked. He said that there were 3 giants coming at him. One of them hurling boulders, hit a cart, completely killed the horses on it right away, instantly, smashed the driver, ruined all the supplies. Another one came charging down the hill while one stood at the bottom of the hill, completely surrounded them. Luckily, they managed to escape with their lives, but not with their horses or donkeys or carts. Nasty business.
I don't suppose you know whereabouts on the road the giants usually tend to be. If one were to...
I don't know about tend to be, but these guys were about halfway down the pass on the Grumpern side.
Like, it's still inside the hills, though.
Oh, yeah. But about, 3/4 of the way through is where they got hit.
Okay, and it's about 10 miles, is it? The danger area.
The whole of the pass is dangerous. It might be like 10 miles how the crow flies, but it's a twisty, windy pass. It's about 20 miles. It's a whole day and a half of travel, really. But you stop right before you get to the hills, and you set out before first light, and you push hard all day, and don't stop until you get to Grumpern.
Is there...
It's killer on your horses, though. They usually need a day of rest after, on the other side.
Where you stop before the hills, is it generally safe there?
Generally, but that's usually because we got a dozen or so armed men with us. Someone on their own, I wouldn't recommend you take that pass at all. I would go by boat all the way around.
Yeah, no, sure, I understand. But if one were to wish to get close to these hills and spend some time nearby, you think
I would question one's sanity.
Fair enough, but I can look after myself.
Alright, fair enough.
So you think that, I mean, what have you got to worry about in these forests? As long as I don't go into the hills, the giants should leave me alone?
Yeah, I mean, they're hill giants. They
Makes
like
sense, right? You're a smart guy. Just, alright, well, I don't know how long do you think you're going to be waiting before you make the journey?
A few more days, maybe?
A few more days. Alright, well, if I'm still in town, perhaps I'll come with you.
Sure. As long as you chip in for the soldiers, that's fine.
I can do that.
Yep.
Alright. I shall see you around, friend. Perhaps I'll see you in a few days.
He waves you off.
Alright, how far are we from the base of the hills here?
Let's take a look. You are... including twists and turns, you're probably like 18 miles from the base of the hills.
Okay. And how fast does movement speed 48 go?
Like 14 miles an hour.
14 miles an hour, okay. Just check the spell. So I have Phantom Steed. I don't know how fast that is. A turn is 10 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
8, so polymorph lasts 3 hours. So it's pretty damn good. And Phantom Steed would let me go how fast at this speed, at this level? 4 per caster level. Oh, so Phantom Steed's 36 and lasts an hour per level, so actually Phantom Steed's pretty great. Alright, I spend the night here, and then I will relearn some spells, and I'm going to head out to the base of the hills tomorrow.
Okay.
So we spend the night. Let's see. I'll change my spells slightly. Let me see. Don't need hypnotism anymore. Still need armor, though. What else? Yeah, probably just a third magic missile is fine. Need invis, mirror image is good. Instead of ESP, I'll take. Let me just check the rules for scare. No, it doesn't work on giants.
Most spells won't work because their saves are so high.
Yeah, if they even get a save. My magic missile is pretty good in that regard. I'll probably just take a second invis then. That's always good. Yeah, even slow is probably not that useful. Maybe I'll take monster summoning instead of slow. And a second fireball. Swap Lesser Gaius out for... I think I'll just take a second polymorph. Oh no, I need Phantom Steed instead of that monster summoning. Alright. So, in the morning, I cast Phantom Steed. I usually travel by carriage, but I don't have... So I don't usually have, like, camping supplies, right?
Right.
So, what's the lightest way that I could feasibly sleep out in the forest?
By yourself? Without someone to carry all of your camping supplies or set you up in a nice cozy building? I don't know. It's been a while since Malakai's had to really rough it, you know?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I just buy, like, I've got a bedroll, I think. Or maybe I don't. I've got 3 winter blankets. So I get rid of one of them because it's stupid weight that I don't need. But I've got 2. I can sleep on one, right? And then use another one to keep me warm. Alright, that's fine. I mean... Alright, yeah, I cast my Phantom Steed and I want to run to the base of the hills. Where the forest ends.
Okay.
I don't know if I get accosted along the way.
Let's find out.
Oh, and I've got stone skin and armor cast on me.
Okay, that'll be good.
Yeah.
No, there are no problems on your way to the base of the hills. The forest is moderate over here, fairly dense, but not impossible to traverse. I would recommend staying on the road. Going off is going to be pretty difficult terrain. But lots of old, tall trees and ferns and, you know, that sort of lovely terrain. The earth here is kind of wet. It's been slightly raining for a while, and in the few months that you've lived in Bontheris, it's been a pretty watery area.
Rains a lot, eh? Okay.
Rains a lot, yeah. Or
well,
lots of light rain, like constant light rainfall. You know.
I get to the road where the trees end, and I look for a large tree, particularly large one on the edge of the canopy.
Yep.
And I will climb to the top of it using my spider climb ability.
Sure. Which that cloak is the same way that you cast web, right? You were lying to what's her name?
Yes,
you said it was a one-time thing.
I was lying. Yes. Just to see if she could tell, you know.
Yeah.
I climb onto the tree, and hopefully it's big enough that maybe I could sleep in it. It's safe enough. Or is it not?
I mean, if you've got time to look around and spider climbability, you can eventually come across a tree that's big enough and cozy enough that you could probably sleep in it.
Yeah. So I will find that tree and mark it out for later.
Okay. It'll probably take you a few hours of climbing trees to find one that is that has like a right-sized crook that you would feel comfortable sleeping in it and not like waking up every 5 minutes as you almost fall off, you know?
Yeah, for sure. That's fine. Is there still daylight left?
Not much. It's
All right.
quickly going down.
So I tuck in for the night and get some sleep.
Okay.
And tomorrow, I will switch out Phantom Steed for a different spell. Which spell do I want, Neal? What was I going to do? Oh, no, I don't want tongues yet. I think I'll just take, like, monster summoning, that was it. Monster summoning. Sorry, I keep closing the Roll20 window. Bear with me. Okay. I wake up this morning, I stretch in the tree, I recast Stone Skin and Armor, and then I cast Polymorph Self.
Okay.
And I spin around, shifting into a giant eagle. And my plan is to scour the hills and look for signs of giants. So I spend the next 3 hours doing that. I'm movement speed 48. I don't think my eyesight is improved by being an eagle, unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
So I might have to fly relatively close to the ground to get a good look.
Okay. So you will be flying over the treetops, scanning, looking for a giant, which isn't that hard. You just have to find the biggest moving thing out there.
Or like a big cave or something, something that looks like it might have a giant in it.
Cool. Why don't we take a break? And when we come back, we'll figure it out. See you shortly.
All right.